Hi everyone, my name is Dirk. I'm the president of the Mornington Peninsula Koala Conservation Group. Our group has actually grown massively over the last 2 years since we were founded, and we've got about 60 members now and hundreds of volunteers that come to our events and want to help our koala population on the Mornington Peninsula. The Mornington Peninsula originally actually lost all its koalas in the 1800s. Most of them were hunted for fur and pretty much extinct, but they did breed in an insurance population just next door on French Island. Then at some stage they relocated a whole lot of koalas back from French Island on the Mornington Peninsula, and they did really well here until probably about 30-40 years ago, when they started to really decline. Important point is that koalas used to be relocated from French Island to the Mornington Peninsula, but that has stopped because the peninsula is deemed not to have enough suitable habitat left to relocate koalas. No one actually knows how many koalas we've got on the Mornington Peninsula. We do know that they occur pretty much on the entire peninsula, except for anywhere from Borneo onwards to Portsea. There's no koalas on the Nepean Peninsula, never has been, and it's generally not gum tree territory. But anywhere else, from Langwarrin, Frankston South, Tyabb, down all along the east coast of the peninsula, so Somers, Balnarring, Shoreham, and here in Rosebud, absolutely there's koalas everywhere. Okay, so I'm standing in amongst managams here in beautiful Arthur Seat State Park, and if you look really closely, there's actually a koala in one of these trees just right above my head. It's right next to a path. People generally tend to not see them and just walk straight past them, but most of our beautiful parks and reserves on the peninsulas do still have koalas present. So the main reason for the decline of koalas on the Mornington Peninsula is actually habitat loss and habitat fragmentation. They do get hit by cars, they do have disease here and there, but by far the primary reason for the decline of koalas is habitat loss. And on the Mornington Peninsula, actually 70% of koala habitat is on private land. Parks like this, like Arthur Seat State Park, Greens Bush, Koala and Woods Reserve, and some of the beautiful reserves that we have on the Mornington Peninsula, they're still in public hand, but it's a very, very small amount of land. 70% of land is on private property, and that's where the issue is. So people move to the Mornington Peninsula, cut down gum trees and native vegetation, not knowing potentially that there's koalas on their property. It's not large-scale land clearing like we see in New South Wales and Queensland. It's small decisions over a longer period of time, and people don't notice that it's happening. The main koala trees on the Mornington Peninsula are manna gums, swamp gums and narrowleaf peppermint. They do also browse in messmates, like the ones behind me here are messmates, and we've got some swamp gums here. This is prime koala habitat. I see koalas here very regularly. Manna gums and swamp gums are the main food trees on the Mornington Peninsula. They do grow in most areas. Swamp gums are probably a bit more widespread than manna gums are, but as long as there's enough tree cover in an area, you generally find koalas. Okay, so what can you do to help our koalas on the Mornington Peninsula? The best thing you can do is obviously retain mature gum trees on your property, plant lots of new ones, revegetate parts of your property, especially if you live in the Green Wedge or anywhere in a known koala area on the Mornington Peninsula. Report koala sightings to our group. We actually keep a register of all sightings and share it with researchers to assess the population of the koalas and where koalas are still present. That helps us plan for tree planting activities and revegetation activities. Tell your neighbors and your friends about our group, but also just the fact that you see koalas and that koalas are around in your area, because hopefully that will encourage people to retain the gum trees. A gum tree can take up to 100 years to actually grow to a size where it starts to form tree hollows. And that's majorly important, not for koalas, but for all our colorful birds and parrots, for possums and sugar gliders, and all our other beautiful native animals that we have on the Mornington Peninsula. So retaining mature trees is definitely a fantastic initiative to help our wildlife.